What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Do you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
was to certain poor shepherd fields as they lay, in a fields where they lay, keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. They looked up and saw a star shining in the east beyond.
The President and I want to wish every American a very Merry Christmas.
During the sacred season, Christians celebrate the greatest miracle in human history. More than 2,000 years ago, God sent his only begotten Son to be with us. An angel announced the birth of our Lord and Savior to humble shepherds. He said, I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all of the people.
During this wonderful time of year, we also give thanks for the brave and selfless Americans who keep us safe. We are forever grateful for the men and women of law enforcement and the heroes of the United States military.
In this holy season, we thank God for his infinite love, and we pray that the light of his glory will forever shine on this magnificent land. On behalf of Melania and the entire Trump family, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I hope you guys... Whoa, what happened here? Why did my camera not change? That was interesting. I hit the button, camera didn't change. In any event, I'm back, I'm live, and had some, as you just saw, some technical difficulties today, hitting buttons that decide that they don't want to work today. So I may have to have a couple more issues here, but we'll work through it. Also had an issue on Rumble, which they say will be worked out tonight. But in any event, I wanted to stitch that together. That was Melania in the 4 years at the White House while they were there. And so I took a bunch of that footage. Then I took a greeting that he and Melania, Trump and Melania, had filmed when they were wishing everybody Christmas. And so I stitched that all into one, intro, wishing all of you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, if that may be the case as well. I'm not going to go with Festivus or what's the other ones that they do. It's Christmas and Hanukkah, and we're going to leave it at that. But right now, it's Christmas for Robin and I, so I wish you guys a Merry Christmas. We need that. We need to see that kind of peace. Because right now, America is anything but peaceful. And what is going on in our government, everything from, to cover it tonight with Mark Levin going through step by step through the J6 report, which is basically treason. He exposed it as nobody else can. And I'm going to go through that tonight at 7:30 so you guys can all see exactly how bad the January 6th committee did Trump. It was horrible. And today is one of these videos that might end up getting me, demonetized, but I can't take it. I really can't take it. At some point, again, with all of us being the media, we have to let everybody know we can't take it anymore. It's too much. And many of you know what I'm referring to by the title of this video is what happened in New York City. But then, before I get to that, I want to show you something Trump did over the weekend, which really, really nailed this. What we just saw or heard about. Hopefully, some of you guys haven't seen it. I've seen it over the last 24 to 48 hours. His speech in Arizona, and he brought up Rachel Marin's mother. And I thought it was so appropriate that I want to lead with that today. So let me see if my button here is going to work. Nope, not going to work, so I'm going to have to do this manually.
Thank you. The The first time I met President Trump in person, he invited us to lunch, my attorney and I. And to be honest, I didn't do anything. I just sat there. I didn't really speak because I wanted to watch the man and listen to what he had to say and what his conversation was like, because I knew he wasn't a politician, but I knew that he had been president before, and I wanted to see if he was a real, authentic man who actually cared for the American people. And so I watched him. I watched how he interacted. I also watched how much his staff really respected him and how much his staff loved working for him. But the thing that changed the way that I looked at him as a person was I realized that he was a dad, that he was a grandfather, and when you spoke to him, you could see in his eyes that he genuinely cared about his fellow human being. But the thing I appreciate the most is that he heard the cries of a mother, and he cared, and he made a promise that he was going to protect us and that he was going to help us. And that's all you can ask from your president, but also just from a fellow human being. And so I personally, I am so honored to know this man and to think of you as a friend.
Then there was the attempted assassination. Yeah. And watching that happen and watching America's response to that, everybody on our campaign kind of paused. We paused. We really were thinking to ourselves that it would be somehow inappropriate, to let this former president, potential future president, continue on a campaign and go up against a man who's literally risking his life. And Bobby had a certain attempts on his life too, but nothing like that.
Right.
And so this was all happening at the same time. And then Trump does something that was really extraordinary. He calls Bobby the day of almost dying. And he wants to talk about children's health. And he's like, there's something to it. And I mean, that was enough for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You have to judge people in how they respond to the most trying days of their lives. That's how I judge people, how they respond and react. When people come back from almost dying, and you see what their first activities are, those are very intentional activities. And so behind the scenes, it was we all were like, this guy cares, and he's sincere. And if he wants to sit at the table, hell yeah, we're going to sit at a table with him.
Hell yeah, we're going to sit at the table from him. Well, I wanted to show you that because the heartfelt moment that Miss Marin had with Trump, and then that was Nicole Shanahan, when she, got in and, working with RFK Jr., she got to realize this is a real guy, and he's got real feelings for people. Unlike the cadaver in chief in the White House, unlike most of the Democrats, excuse me, my board's not working, so I'm going to have to do all this manually. I said it over the weekend during the Turning Point event. I said, you don't see that kind of emotion from the Democrats because they really don't care. They are completely insincere, and it's all about politics, all about party, all about what can they do to win, all about what they can do to subjugate you, and there's no empathy. And so here we are today, 2 days before Christmas, and yet another family is going to have to sit with somebody not at the table because specifically what they've done. So in case you guys haven't seen it, and I'm going to have to be pseudo-descriptive here so as not to have a switch flipped on me, a woman was sleeping on the subway. And she was sleeping on the subway, and this newcomer, who happened to be on the subway, probably didn't have to pay to get on it, somehow ignites this woman on fire. He must have had an accelerant. I don't know how they're saying he lit a match. I don't see how it's possible that one match could engulf somebody the way she was engulfed. And the video's all over X. If you choose to, you can find it. It's everywhere. And people are questioning, hey, why didn't she drop and roll? Why didn't she do this? Why didn't she do that? And the most sickening part of that video, actually there were two bits of depravity in that video, is the newcomer / assailant, alleged assailant, is watching this woman burn. And he wasn't happy with how the fire was going, and he walks up and he takes his coat to blow more oxygen, fan the flames, wants to see it go higher. It was so shocking, somebody in our Twitter group said, why didn't that woman help instead of fanning? And I'm like, no, that's not a woman, that's the guy. He's fanning the flames while this woman is burning. The second act of pure depravity was the New York City police, subway, transit, whoever they were, walking back and forth and casually glancing into the subway car while this woman has become a human inferno. The third act, I guess you could say, of depravity is people filming it. This 29-year-old woman is engulfed in flames. The video I saw ran for 90 seconds. And for the 90 seconds that I saw, and it picked up, the video started with her already on fire. So the 90 seconds that I saw, not a single person, not one, including police, went to try and help this woman. And I thought to myself, my God, where are we in this country? That even the people who are paid to serve and protect are not serving and protecting. They're just taking paychecks. And what kind of thing goes through your head to say, oh, there's somebody on fire. This is going to make for a lot of good clicks and stuff. Let me go ahead and film this. Just to let you know, if I ever see you on fire, I'm going to be the second person to you because I would not be able to stop Robin, who's a former EMT, from getting to you first. Nobody helped her. No, not a single. We're talking, this is the holiday season. This is Christmas. And not one single person in New York City at that point thought to help this woman. And she burned to death like a log, a giant tree, just sitting there. Oh, why did she fall? Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter what was going through her mind. Maybe the shock. Maybe, who knows? But you didn't take off your own shirt and try to jump on her and, yeah, you may have gotten burned, but you may have saved a life. And this is just weeks after Daniel Penny gets acquitted. And nobody wants to save anybody on a burning in front of them in a New York City. Get the hell out of New York. Get out. Because you just learned firsthand, not only are you subject to being preyed upon, P-R-E-Y, not only are you subject to being preyed upon, but you're also subject to everybody there looking the other way while it's happening to you. I don't even have that in me. I don't know how that could be. I'd jump out if I saw a dog getting beat. How in the hell did people see this woman bursting in flames and not go, hey, we got to do something? Right now, evil is run amok through America, and the government doesn't seem to care. Let me just show you something. I got to do this by hand. The board's not working, so hopefully everything. This is what happened. Police have arrested Guatemalan migrant, which when Trump gets in office, I hope we can go back to using our language where people won't get us in trouble for using the actual words. We all know what it is, but we have to use these made-up words so as not to offend someone who burned somebody on a subway. Police have arrested the Guatemalan migrant after he set a woman on fire and watched her burn to death on the New York City subway. Dude, you're lucky you got arrested. There's towns in this country where you wouldn't see a jail cell. The woman was sleeping. He snuck up on her and burned her up. You know what kind of justice this man needs. You know, it's insane. Let me play a quick video for you. This is from Tom Homan talking about it because he knows firsthand. Is this from Tom Homan? No, my let's see if I can find it down here. Okay, I want you to hear what Tom Homan has to say about this.
Well, look, this is another example of an illegal alien killing American citizens. It's almost a daily occurrence now. You know, because historic number of criminal aliens walking the streets because of this administration's policy in sanctuary jurisdictions and lax immigration enforcement. ICE has their hands tied. Secretary Mayorkas have given them priorities that they can't even go arrest an illegal alien anymore unless he's convicted of a serious crime. Then maybe they can arrest him. So this is on this administration. As far as Governor Hochul, shame on her. She supports sanctuary status in that state. She welcomed thousands of illegal aliens to her state. She sent them to Buffalo and Syracuse. Murders occurred by illegal aliens in Buffalo and Syracuse. She has a green light law. ICE and CBP can't even work with local law enforcement. Local law enforcement can't even share DMV data with these people. So Governor Hochul, shame on you. There's nothing you can say that's going to make this right in New York.
No, there's nothing you can say at this point. And what sucks is that we've got to such a point in this country where this is accepted. The media, who calls themselves the media, they completely look the other way. Yes, this was on Fox, but the other ones aren't going to cover this to any certain deep extent, and they live in New York. Their studios are in New York City, and they won't even talk about it. These people, when every time I point upstairs, I'm talking to the powers that be that run YouTube, don't want us even discussing this. It's offensive to call this guy what he is, but it's not offensive that this young 29-year-old white woman got fried like an hors d'oeuvre. Just lit up. And we're supposed to just not talk about it. You can't offend these people. They're newcomers. You know, we can't even call them by what they really are. I think at this point, after all of the bad stuff they have done, people have finally had it to hear. They're done. You think Daniel Penny was bad? You ain't about... I'm telling you what's about to happen. And there's nobody in government for the next 30 days that's going to stop it. I would not want to be in New York City on New Year's Eve. Remember, Times Square, ball dropping, hundreds of thousands of people, maybe even million people in Times Square. And all around them are people lurking. People who just have no care of what they do to these people just so they can get what they want to get. whether it be doing bad things to women horizontally, or setting them on fire, or stealing what you have. These people are being hemmed in on New Year's Eve, and it's like prey, P-R-E-Y, just sitting in front of the bad guys. And yet you're trying to say New York City is safe? Oh, it's not that bad. Only a couple apartment complexes got taken over. At this point, people are going to begin taking matters into their own hands. Because now you know for sure, because there's a video, you could be on fire, just completely in flames, and the cops are walking by doing nothing. There couldn't be a better exclamation point of you being on your own in blue cities than to watch that video. I know it's disgusting, I know it's nightmarish, I know it's otherworldly, but people in blue cities, you need to watch that video, rewind it, and then watch it again. Nobody is coming to help you. They have just looked at this and went, hey, she's on fire, dude. Yeah, my shift's ending. I got to get home. But now they're going to blame us. They're going to blame us for talking about it because, that guy that they hate, where is it? That guy that they hate for so much because all he does is talk about things, he's now publicizing it so that we all can see it if you haven't seen it. Here's Elon. Wow. And the part that he's saying wow about is that the man who burned the woman to death on the New York City subway has been confirmed to be what he should be called, you guys can read it, a newcomer from Guatemala that re-entered the country after being deported. He was deported by the Trump administration, and Mayorkas and Biden said, come on back in. You're the kind of people we want in here. And then they're mad because, 19 million people have seen that. And I expect each one of you who've got a Twitter following or an account to get out there and let people know you're not going to take this anymore. You want your country back, and we don't know how we're going to make it to these 30 days. Unbelievable. And to get mad at Elon for talking about it. Meanwhile, here's the next thing he wrote. Richie Torres, who got roasted, by the way. Richie Torres got roasted because he put this up. This is a Democrat congressman who was doing all kinds of bad posting about Daniel Penny, and he rightfully put this up, but people remembered, hey, Richie, you remember what you were saying about Daniel Penny? You can't just turn like that. We remember. I'm surprised this is still up. He's been blocking everybody who's been saying anything about it. But nonetheless, this is a really profound post. 2 hours ago, Kathy Hochul took a victory lap for making Subway safer. She congratulated herself on the same day 2 subway riders were stabbed in Queens, one in the face and one in the chest, and another was barbarically burned alive. Has there been a more tone-deaf governor in the history of New York? Let me ask you that for you. No, and you go there as well, because you're one of these Democrats who put her in office. And this is her taking pictures on the friggin' subway. I took action to make our subway safer for the millions of people who take the trains each day. And she got roasted, absolutely roasted. By the way, Kathy, with your nice clothes, your jewelry, and everything else you got, I dare you, I double dog dare you to get on the same subways you're proclaiming as safe without your armed guards. I challenge you. Go do it. You're supposed to be so confident of the safety on the subway. Go do it. This is the woman who was killed. New York subway fire victim's name was Amelia Carter. She was 29 years old. Rest in peace, Amelia. Another American's life cut short by violent criminal monsters Biden let into our country. Enough is enough. You had enough yet? Because I've had enough. I've had it. I've had it to here. I don't even live in New York, but I've had it. This one here. Kathy Hochul brags about her success making New York City subway safer just hours after a newcomer burned a woman alive on the subway. How tone deaf do you have to continue with this speech right after watching a woman go up like a Yuletide log, just inflamed? And you post this? You really posted this? I'll tell you why she posted it. They don't care. They don't care about you, me, or anybody else. It's all about power and illusion. They know they've got their so-called media behind them. But what they don't have behind them is you and your voice. You need to let everybody know this is unacceptable. And no, we're not going to take it. And no, we're not going to wait for you to fix it. Because they're not. So if you've got family in a blue area this week of New Year's and Christmas and Hanukkah and Festivus and Kwanzaa and whatever you want to call it, and they're out there having frivolity, have good cheer, shopping, spending money, they know you got money, you're out at the mall, you're out here, you're doing this, you're that, you got money, you're prey. P-R-E-Y. If you're not protected, someone's probably watching you. Just imagine that you now have to think walking around in some of these places, is somebody watching me? Yeah. Yes. And they may even set you on fire just for fun, just to watch you burn. I always thought that Johnny Cash song was just a song. I didn't know, that Folsom City Blues was real. You know the line, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. These people, they're doing this for sport. This is fun. Let me fan the flames. The hell, it's not hot enough. And he didn't look afraid. He didn't run. He was sitting on the bench. It was entertainment. Barry, you make it too much of this. Oh, hell no, I'm not, because I have family in the Northeast. And I just can't imagine that they went shopping or hung out and decided they were going to take the subway to, a football game or something. You're right, Barry. They don't care about us in New York. I hope this is working. Yep. They don't care about New Yorkers. Should do protest in front of her house or in front of her government mansion, whatever it is. Yeah. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's see. And I'm always these blue states that violate the rights of the citizens to have a firearm. Yeah. How can God let this happen? It's not God. It's definitely not God. He wants prison in America, easy life for him. Never thought I'd feel this way either. Nope, it's not a feeling that we know. It's not something that we're used to. I pray for our country. I don't have money. I get groceries from the local store. We don't have Walmart. We finally got a Dollar Tree and store and General Dollar a few years ago. Yeah, and they're about to close. This is what I truly believe, Karen. God wants us to stand up. Make a stand. You have to fight against evil. You cannot just watch it anymore. And if you take it to heart that no one's coming to help you, it puts a whole different perspective in your mind, doesn't it? I mean, Robin and I are traveling this week. We're going to go see Ashley up in North Carolina and the grandkids. And now I know. We stop. Whatever we do, head on a swivel. Head on a swivel. Watch everything. I compel you to do the same thing. Watch everything. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself the best you can. But when you leave the confines of your house, watch where you're going. We are God's voices. Absolutely. This is not God's doing. This is evil's doing. You're absolutely right, Beth. Absolutely right. Clothes can light on fire that quick if they are Halloween. I don't. What's that? It's a woman's clothing, so I don't know what that is. It made out of a certain fiber to just light with one match? It can just go up like that. Maybe a scarf or something. Crazy. This is purely satanic. Don't blame God's Democrats are subject to hatred for all we the people. Yeah. The movie Vigilante is about to happen. Yeah. Keep looking over your shoulder. Many, many bad people were let in. Tens of millions. And then flown to you don't even know where. Just waiting. And the thing that got me was he sat down on the bench and watched it. And then tried to fan the flames. If you haven't seen it, if you have a weak stomach, don't watch. But if you see it, you're going to see him. He walks over and he just fans the flames. Oh, it's not burning enough. Unbelievable. No clothing can't do that. I was thinking it had to be some sort of accelerant. To me, it looked like she knew not to move and wait for help from someone, but no one came. January 20th is getting closer. Please be careful. It's not going to stop. And on top of all that, as you know, or in case you don't know, Biden commuted a whole bunch of sentences today. Many of them are people who are on death row for killing and doing bad things to kids. He commuted the sentence. They're not getting out. Don't worry about that. But they're no longer eligible for the death penalty. He commuted the sentence of people who did bad things to kids. Multiple kids. What are you trying to hide, Joe? Who is it that's pulling these strings? These guys, I can't even discuss what they did to these kids, and he commuted their sentence. Why in the hell would you even bother reviewing their cases? I don't even care if they found God in jail and have been upstanding. You got to pay. You hurt kids. I know they're going to hurt me with this video. Yeah, you're right, Keith. Biden didn't do it. He really has no idea who's actually doing this. Great question. And someone had asked a while ago, well, actually a lot of people asked, how can this continue to happen if he's not in his right mind? Can these things be challenged? At this point, I think the more that comes out, you're going to hear tonight when we go over the January 6th report and some of the stuff, they may be able to challenge this stuff because something ain't right. Young children. Yeah, very young children. If they did something to kids and they get put in the other prisoners, they are doomed. Yeah, they've been on death row, so I don't even know. Wow, somebody's saying they get to transfer to a medium security prison now. Gen Pop, they have the opportunity. I hope the people in Gen Pop do what they need to do. Do what they need to do. And, you know, I don't want to bring everybody down. And it's Christmas, and it just got to me watching that woman and knowing what kind of pain she must have went through. And watching her unprotected, nobody helping. Nobody. How could you not help? That tells me there's something wrong with humanity. Absolutely something wrong with humanity right now. And I think we got to fix it. So when we get back, I'm going to move into the second story. But I just wanted you guys to hear that because it really struck me. That could be any one of our family members, and nobody helped. And I would hate to have anyone I know, anyone I love, in such a situation where you pay your taxes. And God knows in New York, you're paying a whole lot of taxes. You got city taxes. You got transit taxes. You got tax on tax. And when it comes time for someone to be there to help you, nope, ain't gonna be there. If you see what's going on in the world right now and what may happen here in America, you may want to prepare and pay attention. You know that Lear Capital is a big supporter of this show. If you want to be protected in the event that things go off the wall, I advise you to look into buying gold and silver. We are all just one catastrophic event away from the value of the American dollar plunging. Do you know what's not plunging? Gold and silver. I'm telling you now. Make sure that you have some form of your money invested in precious metals. Lear Capital will ship your gold or your silver coins directly to your house. It's not just a certificate. You can store them in your gun safe, or you can store them off-site in a 24-hour protected facility. It's totally up to you. But when things go crazy here, or across the world, the value of the American dollar is going to decline. It's inevitable, and it might not even take a war. We may do it to ourselves. And I mean, if the Federal Reserve plays around with interest rates, the US dollar will likely decline in value as well. Meanwhile, you'll see gold and silver continue to rise in value. If you call Lear Capital, they will take the time to educate you and answer all of your questions about gold and silver. Just give them a call at 800-601-5430 or go to Learberry, that's me, learberry.com, to download your free de-dollarization report. You should know that Lear Capital is an American company. If you call them today, you'll be speaking with people right here in the United States. Now is the time to take action. Call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, ask them how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. There's absolutely no obligation to buy anything. Just free information on protecting your hard-earned dollars with gold and silver. You know, when you think about it, you're actually not buying anything. You're simply going to be exchanging dollars for gold, moving currency. Give them a call today. Tell them Barry sent you. All right, so after the Turning Point event, Trump decides to head back to Mar-a-Lago, and amongst the festivities and everything, he gets back to work. And boy, did he get back to work just dropping. You heard about the Panama Canal thing. That's getting to be really, really good. But he made a number of appointments. Let's go ahead and discuss those real quick. I am pleased to nominate Stephen Alexander Vaden to be Deputy Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, where he will work with our great United States Secretary of Agriculture nominee, Brooke Rollins. In my first term, Stephen was the General Counsel of the Department of Agriculture and a member of the Board of Commodity Credit Corporation, where he won 2 cases before the United States Supreme Court. He relocated and reorganized the agencies that compromised the department to better serve rural America, and on and on. So, congratulations to Stephen Alexander. That was one of his appointees. This one here kind of goes on. This one is Kate Miller. Kate Miller, excuse me, will be joining Doge. Kate Miller is also the husband of Stephen Miller, you know, the firebrand. She has been a loyal supporter. Loyal. See, as much as that makes the left cringe, he lets people know, I ain't got no problem. I want loyal people. It makes them cringe. Oh, he wants loyalists. You damn right. You damn right. He wants loyalists. She's going to be working with Elon and Vivek. Katie is a deeply experienced communications and professional, respected by all. Congratulations to Stephen and Katie. Next up, I am pleased to announce Mauricio Claver Carone as the State Department Special Envoy for Latin America. Mauricio has served in many important roles, including the White House as my Senior Director for Western Hemisphere Affairs. So understand, he's bringing people back and putting them back in the White House. Over the last 4 years, chaos and anarchy have engulfed, maybe not the right word to use right now, our borders. It is time to restore order in our own hemisphere. Mauricio knows the region and how to put America's interests first. He also knows the dire threats we face from illegal mass migration and fentanyl. He will work tirelessly to protect the American people. Congratulations, Stephen. Next, and you'll recognize this name from before, I am pleased to announce Callista Gingrich will be our next United States ambassador to Switzerland. Happily married to the great Newt Gingrich, Callista previously served with distinction as my ambassador to the Holy See. So she gets her second ambassadorship. So he must feel really, really strong about Callista. During her tenure, Callista worked to advance and defend international religious freedom, combat human trafficking, and provide humanitarian assistance around the world. So that's Newt Gingrich's wife. So they're going to be going to Switzerland. Next up, I am pleased to announce Ken Howery as my choice for United States Ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark. Ken is a world-renowned entrepreneur, investor, and public servant who served our nation brilliantly when? During my first term as U.S. Ambassador to Sweden. So he's just bringing everybody back. I mean, there's not many new people that he's bringing into the administration. This is pretty cool. I know some of you guys don't like crypto, but here's what he's doing. This one's a lot. I am pleased to announce the brilliant team that will be working in conjunction with our White House AI and crypto czar, David Sachs. So David Sachs is the billionaire who Trump has tabbed to be his crypto czar. Now he's putting his team together. Together we will unleash scientific breakthroughs, ensure America's technological dominance, and usher in a golden age of American innovation. So the first guy is Michael Kratsios. He's going to be the new director of the White House Office of Science and Technology, and an assistant to the president for science and technology. In my first term, you see that? How that keeps happening? In my first term, bringing in another guy. Michael was unanimously confirmed by the Senate as Chief Technology Officer of the United States at the White House. He also served as Undersecretary of Defense. Then you got Lynn Parker. She will serve as the Executive Director of the Presidential Council for Advisors of Science and Technology. PCAST is what it's going to be called, will assemble America's most distinguished minds in science and technology to advise our administration on critical issues like AI. As previously announced, David Sachs will be chairing PCAST. So these guys are all being brought together to run the AI. And he's got more here. Bo Hines will be the Executive Director of the Presidential Council of Advisors for Digital Assets, i.e. the Crypto Council, a new advisory group composed of luminaries from the crypto industry and chaired by our crypto czar, David Sachs. You guys hearing this? I've tooted the horn a couple times. Some people don't like it. But over the next 4 years, and the sooner the better, begin getting your feet wet and understanding crypto. It's coming. We said before, no one can stop what's coming. It's coming. And then down here, he's bringing in Siriam Krishnan, will serve as Senior Policy Advisor for Artificial Intelligence at the White House Office of Science and Technology, working closely again with David Sachs. So he's getting ready to basically push hard on crypto and AI. Now, I know some of you don't like AI. I know some of you don't like crypto. I know some of you are older, maybe like me, maybe even a little bit older. But these are things I'm not going to push you. I'm just saying you may want to begin getting your arms around. Don't just cast it off out of hand. I know some of you aren't ready. I'm not going to basically belabor that, but if Trump sees this as a huge priority for him, and a priority for the country, skate where the puck is going to be. Try to remove your biases and your apprehensions, your fears, and say, this is something I need to dabble in. And what I've been so happy with, I get so many emails. I get so many emails from people. So many emails. Our email shut down the other day because people were spamming it. But I got so many emails from people who were saying, I love Grok. Oh my God, I love Grok. And it's so much fun. Talk about an easy way to use AI and get used to it. Just use Grok. Like I've mentioned before, in terms of what Robin does with the pictures and everything, and how she's able to basically put a prompt in and an amazing picture can come out. And then you can also use it as a search engine for research as well. So it's an easy way. It's very user friendly. You just say, hey, can you do this? Can you find that? Can you tell me this? And anything you ask, it will go find it. And it's not going to be giving you a biased answer like Google will. Well, don't tell them yet. Okay. We have another announcement. I am pleased to announce that Scott Cooper will serve as the Director of Office of Personnel Management. Scott was the first employee of Andreessen Horowitz and now serves as managing partner. He's also the former chairman of the National Venture Capital Association. Scott will bring much needed reform to our federal workforce. Scott graduated Phi Beta Kappa from Stanford, and on and on and on. So bringing in another good guy. I think we have two more. Okay, so this next one I'm going to do is actually, very, 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 very long. Just so you guys are ready for it. Let me get it ready. All right, so on this one, he's talking about these people that he's bringing in basically to help Pete Hegseth. He's pleased to announce a slate of American First Patriots who will work in conjunction with our great Secretary of Defense nominee, Pete Hegseth. Stephen Feinberg will serve as Deputy Secretary of Defense and help make the Pentagon great again. An extremely successful businessman, Stephen is a Princeton graduate, as was Pete, who founded his company, Cerberus, in 1992. In addition to his leadership at Cerberus from 2018 to 2021, Stephen served as chairman of my Intelligence Advisory Board. Bringing the band back together. Next up is Elbridge Colby will serve as an Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, a highly respected advocate for our America First foreign and defense policy. Bridge will work closely with my outstanding nominee, Pete Hegseth, to restore our military power and achieve my policy of peace through strength. And again, we've got a guy who went to Harvard and Yale and will make an excellent addition to the team so that Pete can hit the ground running. Next is Michael Duffy, will serve as another Undersecretary of Defense, this one for acquisition and sustainment. Mike has been a strong advocate for our warfighters and the American taxpayer throughout his many years of public service, including in the Department of Defense and the Office of Management and Budget in my first administration. What people have a problem with is Trump's basically... He wants loyalty and familiarity. He wants people he knows how to work with, which there's nothing wrong with that. The media tries to pretend like there's something wrong with it when that's exactly what you want. When you're building a business, you want people, A, that you trust, who you know are competent, who are going to do and follow your vision. I don't want to take time and train somebody. Well, hey, you might be good, but this guy is, I know he's good. He's worked with me, and I'm going to be able to hit the ground running. They already know what I'm going to do. Some of these people have probably already worked with Pete as well. Next up is Michael will serve as the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. Emil has lived the American dream by building several successful tech companies, including Uber. He served as a special assistant to the Secretary of Defense when he was a White House fellow. Emil will ensure that our military has the most technologically sophisticated weapons in the world while saving, quote, a lot of money for our taxpayers. I'm down with that. And then the last one, I think it's the last one, Keith Bass will serve as my Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Affairs. Keith is a retired Navy commander with over 30 years of healthcare experience. He has led medical departments in the Department of Defense, the CIA, and a White House medical unit. Keith will be leading the charge to ensure our troops are healthy and receiving the best possible medical care. Finally, I'm pleased to announce that Joe Casper will serve as Chief of Staff for the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. During my first term, you see the prevailing theme here? During my first term, Joe served at the Department of Defense, where he directly supported the Secretaries of Defense, Navy, and Air Force. He was then appointed to the Department of Homeland Security as Deputy Assistant Secretary for U.S. Senate Affairs, and later on, blah, 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 where he served as chief of this or that and the other thing. Bottom line is, he's really filling in his cabinet. If you heard over the weekend at Turning Point, and he was giving his speeches, he said, we are going to be ready to run on day one. Or day two, he said. He kind of laughed. They're going to be ready. Everything is set up. Except for the fact, I don't know how he's executing this without, expect to hit the ground running without everybody in place. Unless, of course, the recess appointments are coming. Don't know. So he came, understand this, he flew from Palm Beach at 5 o'clock in the morning, got there to Arizona, gave a speech, flew back, got in last night, had a big gala where, Judge Janine and a bunch of other people were there, and they were showing him have a good time. And I bet you somewhere in that 3-hour flight coming back to, or actually 4-hour flight probably, coming back from Arizona, that he was writing out, getting all this stuff down so people could post it. The man's wasting no time. And obviously, Dementia Joe seemingly has abdicated. I'm done. We're not doing anything. So I don't know who's signing these pardons right now, but there's rumors out there, different articles being written, that Joe is not going to give out the mass pardons that they all want. I don't know. It's getting close. Got a holiday weekend coming up. Maybe they'll dump a whole bunch while nobody's watching, but we shall see. Truth matters. Wow. Merit-based appointments with qualifications and experience. This is refreshing. Bingo. Not just somebody because they're a woman or their skin color. Actual, you earned it type stuff. That's what we want to hear. Let's see, we got Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas to you, Noreen, as well. Marcus, I believe you're right. I believe the recess appointments are definitely coming. If he's naming all these people and he expects to hit the ground running, as he said over the weekend, 1 o'clock on the 20th, how in the hell are you going to do it with all these people just hanging out, not even, not in office yet? Something's got to happen. Barry, the new Congress isn't back to work until January 5th, 2025. So to confirm his cabinet appointments, I don't know. I mean, he doesn't get inaugurated till the 20th, and they should be confirming his cabinet appointments on January 5th. But are the Democrats going to play along? Or are they going to try games? And this is going to be anything but a peaceful transition. That was the title of the video in there. You should know at this point, Joe may have checked out, but all these other Democrats, they're looking to fight. They're looking to, basically get in the way, muck up the waters, do anything they can to slow this Trump train down. So, I don't know. Let's see here. Trump wants to guarantee they're ready to go day one. They should be ready to go January 21st. January 20th at 2 o'clock, be ready to go. Trump knows what he's doing. I believe that. Question, if Biden is not functional to be able to bring a charge against him, how can any pardons be legal? I think we're going to see, I won't call it a constitutional crisis, but what I think we're going to see is a bunch of challenges here. The challenges won't happen until after Trump and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are in office. But what I'm going to show you tonight is what Mark Levin did and how he lined up how these people completely lied to the American public. They're done. Forget this whole thing about Kash Patel and Pam going after political opponents. No. They're going after criminals. At this point, a crime was committed. They now have proof a crime was committed. So it's not your political opponents. It's the idiots that tried to pull a fast one on America. Yeah, it's going to be a cluster. Yeah, I believe. Be ready. By the way, anything going on with the drones? They just disappear. I know some kid got hit in the head by one. That purple-haired lady in Congress bugs me. Crypto is fine as long as we keep cash. I don't think anyone's doing away with cash. Lock and load and stock up for the next month. It's gonna get weird. Gonna get weird, very weird. So. Let me continue with what I have planned. What I'm beginning to see, the other part that I want to show you, since I don't have my buttons, I have to do this manually, is I'm beginning to see real evidence of the Democrat apparatus, the Democrat cluster, whatever you want to call it, is starting to splinter. I've talked to myself. I'm black. I've talked to many black people, and that coalition that they've counted on for decades and lied to and held a carrot out in front of their face. They're going to take care of you. I'm seeing more and more people splinter away. I'm seeing more and more Hispanics splinter away. I've said many times on this show, I don't know how they win another election anytime soon. And everything I'm seeing online, on X, absent the cheat, there's no way. Number one, there's no leader. Somebody came out with a poll today and said J.D. Vance was leading Kamala by 1 point for the 2028 race. And I'm thinking to myself, we just realized your polls are BS. And you're coming out with a poll? And you expect someone anywhere to believe and buy into that 1 point separates Cackles from J.D. Vance? What mind-bred numbskulls would even look at this poll and put any credence in it? You're done, pollsters. I don't know what you're thinking. Your days are numbered. Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen, he is now going to be the preeminent source. But the rest of you, you're liars. Nobody wants to hear from you. If they're releasing a poll today showing that J.D. Vance and Kamala are tight for 2028, then that tells you they are already in trouble. You see, they're probably beginning to see the same stuff I'm seeing. Watch this.
That's what I tell people. They're like, oh, well, black people aren't able to. I'm like, you don't realize how much that's actual white supremacy, because you have made yourself believe that we are incapable of doing anything better. We are incapable of trying to better ourselves. The only way we can do better is if white people help us do it. So in honesty, yeah, white people are supreme over you, but they're not supreme over me. That's not what I believe. I believe that I can go and do stuff. And they're like, oh, well, we can't be racist because black people aren't in positions. We got black mayors, black city councilmen, et cetera, et cetera. So can they be racist now? It's these stupid things we talk about all the time. They resonate in our community, and we truly believe some of the things that's going on. And I'm like,
did you ever believe any of that stuff?
Absolutely. I used to hate.
Yeah, see that's the problem. Many black people believed it. Yeah, it's white supremacists. Those white people hate you. Those white people don't want to have anything to do with you. They're all racist. Especially if they're in the South. If they're in the South, oh man, you don't want to go down South. Those people down there, trust me, I'm telling you from experience, living in Connecticut, growing up in Connecticut, when we told people we're going to go down to, Fort Lauderdale for spring break, how you getting there? Oh, we're going to use Jimmy's car and we're all going to take turns driving. You going to drive through the South? Oh man, you don't even know what's going to happen to y'all down there. And we were afraid driving through, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Make sure you drive 60 miles an hour, because these white supremacists with hoods are going to come up behind you, and they might snatch you out the car. I believed it. I believed it. It was ingrained. And now what's happening is our people are starting to realize, no, white people in the South and white people other places, they don't have two heads and Klan costumes and pitchforks running around. They're not looking for you. But it's taken this long to 2025, basically, for people to go, oh, you guys are liars. You guys are all liars. Now, finally, people are like, oh, man, I didn't know. Which is so funny is because how many of black and Hispanic people are now in interracial marriages and relationships. Did you think you were the only one? Oh, yeah, that's kind of true. So, yeah, even, here you go, even the people who tell you white people are racist, the ones on television, guess what? They're married to white people. To me, that was Kamala Harris. The woman who is running for president, who is saying that Trump was racist and that white people did this and had two heads, is married to a white man. And it was amazing how nobody talked about it. Don Lemon, married to a white man. And you could go on and on and on and on. But somehow they were able to, hypnotize people going, oh, these people are bad. Yet the people telling you that, the very people telling you that, are married or having a relationship with a white person. AOC. Yes, AOC's boyfriend. White. It took a special kind of stupid for people to believe the stuff that they were being told. But unfortunately, it was decades ingrained into people. And now I don't know what the Democrats are going to do because that horse has left the barn.
White people, like when I was like...
Wait, you hated white people?
Oh, yeah, I hated white people like my 16, 17. You got to think, when I was in high school, Donald Trump became president. When I was in high school at the time. You got to think I was on, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and... Of course, everybody's just posting all this bad stuff about, Donald Trump or whatever like that. So I'm just like, oh, man, he's racist, blah, blah, blah. It's like you're not doing any research. You're a kid or whatever.
It's so funny. Mm-hmm. I know Donald Trump, and I've been listening to you for the last 5 minutes, and all I keep thinking is, I have to introduce you to Donald Trump. He will love you.
Oh, yeah. So I took a picture with him one time. I think we were in Tennessee, I believe.
Good, so you know each other.
No, we don't know each other. I think it was one of those things where we could take a picture with him.
Okay, okay.
But I introduced myself, but you probably don't remember. But where was I?
You were saying when you were 16, Donald Trump was a racist.
Donald Trump was the president, right? I remember I was working at Chick-fil-A. I remember the day he got elected, it felt like the world was about to end. Like, because of how they made it seem, in the media and on social media, whatever. Like, I mean, it was terrible. Like, it's like it was cloudy that day and everybody at work was just all, meh.
So I want to tell you, in addition to everything that Twitter/X is doing to destroy the media, which it is. They are losing badly. It is destroying these narratives. Because people are following people and talking to people and like, oh, you're black, but you're a Trump supporter? Yep. And they can't, it's breaking apart in front of them. See, a couple years ago, they had control of Twitter, and they'd bop you if you said something that you weren't supposed to say. The people here would bop you if you had something different to say. And now, everybody is talking to everybody, and why the media is freaking out, that whole thing about you're the media, well, not only are you all the media, you can actually strike up a conversation and speak to anybody. Those lines of demarcation where you weren't allowed to talk to a white person, you weren't allowed to talk to a black person, and the black people think this, and the white people think that, and the other thing, and now you're all like, well, I can talk to him. I can definitely talk to him and her, and we can disagree about sports, and we can disagree about food, and we can disagree about movies, and we can disagree about a bunch of stuff. And most of the people you're going to talk to, I'm telling you right now, most of the people you're going to talk to are going to think like you. Because they wanted everyone to think that we were so different. When we're not. We all pay our bills. We all pay our taxes. Don't want to. We all don't want to pay more in gas. We all don't want to pay, craziness for groceries. We definitely don't want to see people burning up on subways. You see, at the beginning of my intro, where Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says we need to focus on more of the stuff that we're similar. And instead of this stuff over here, because they want to make this the amplification. Oh, these people here, they don't like Transformers. Well, I'm not too keen with that either. Oh, I didn't know that. You see, because now, if somebody posts something, you can go and see, oh, what's this person like? Go through there. Oh, yeah, okay, you are like me. You may not like the movie I just watched, but I can see you don't like Transformers. You're bitching about how much you're paying for gas. You are more like me than the people who think differently. Seek those people out, because you do that, they cannot win. The entire pillar that they have built up for decades is falling apart amongst them.
And like we were upset. We were so sad. I never forget when we went to Blexit had an event at the White House with Donald Trump. And we brought some of our students in 2020, October 2020, because Donald Trump had COVID at the time, President Trump. And we went there, and all the love that we received from Republicans and from people, on that side, I'd never seen anything like it in my life. We were these kids who had our all black, Extra Boys outfits on or whatever. Everybody was wondering who we were. So I was telling them about the work I was doing. And they was just like, man, like, this is amazing. People started, giving to our organization, etc. And so ever since then, I've noticed that, the most people that have given us the most hate and terror and the most pushback is people that look just like me.
See, they don't want you to know that. I've told you many, many times, I haven't experienced the kind of racism the Democrats want to talk about. Yes, I'm from Connecticut. Yes, I went to private school. Yes, I went to college. Yes, I played ball, so there's doors open that, other people may not have had. But when I've gone somewhere with Robin, even when we were dating, it wasn't white people who gave us a problem. The side eye I would get was from so-called, like he said, people who look like me. Hopefully there ain't a whole bunch of them running around, but you understand that I hate that saying, because there ain't nobody look like me. But you know what I mean. And I would see these women looking at Robin, and then they would look at me, I'm like, what? What? You got something to say? Bag my groceries. It was so weird. The racism was coming from so-called, quote, people who look like me. How many times have I heard this saying? I'm going to drop a saying on you. Never heard it from anybody white. But the saying I kept hearing over and over and over, you must forget where you came from. Which to me is the most idiotic statement I've ever heard. Why? It's because I will never, and I've said this, I will never forget where I came from, because I never want to go back. And I'm not saying anything bad about my mom and my dad. They divorced, God bless their souls, and they did the best they could. But I know what it meant to live a certain way. And so I've said, I will never go back to that. And the only way I will make sure I never go back to that is I won't ever forget it. So the saying is, you must forget where you came from. No, it's just the opposite. and luckily, we've been blessed, and my daughter's blessed, and my sisters are blessed, and my brother went to West Point. Yeah, we don't forget where we came from. We know, we just don't ever want to go back there.
Because I don't necessarily think like the status quo. Black people have this thing where if you don't think like everybody else, then you must be an immigrant. There's no way you're a Black American thinking like this, or you a coon, all the names or whatever. And after we got invited to the White House, my tune started to shift, because I'm just like, these people, I hadn't received any hate the whole time. And I told them exactly what I do, because at that time I was only working with black kids. And I was like, well, we're working for black, we got black kids, we're teaching them how to do this and that. It's like, we don't care. Like, this is amazing. Like, you're doing some great work. It was a shocker to me, because I had been begging to get to other, meetings, other Democrat senators. I couldn't get no meetings. Nobody wanted to talk to us. Nobody wanted to help in a major way. These people didn't even know us. And they were pouring love.
You see, that's what it's all about. Outpouring of love, and you pour it out, you're going to get it back. And for so long, the Democrats have built this temple up where, they have been able to let people now or try to let people think that the other side didn't want to talk to you, because as soon as you engage with other people, the stereotypes and the narratives all fall apart. They need you sectioned off and divided. That's the entirety of their platform, is to keep you in sections, i.e. the hyphenation: African American, Italian American, Spanish American, Hispanic American. What? I'm just an American. When I was talking earlier about Trump getting in and just putting our language back to where it's supposed to be, take off those hyphenated titles. Don't use them. Take them off every single form. What are you? I'm an American. Oh, okay. So you're just like me. Yep, we're Americans. I just happen to have a different, level of melanin in my skin, and my hair doesn't look the same. What little hair is still up there. But I think that's when America was great. When America didn't have to worry about getting fried on a train. When America didn't have to worry about what was going to happen if you drove through Georgia. Yeah, there was a time when we had that problem. We are no longer there. I'm not living in the past. And neither are you. America was great when we didn't have people like Joy Reid screaming racism, racism every single time she gets on the air. Programming people to think that this is the way. Programming people to think that having money is a disease and that you're bad, yet you make $3-4 million a year telling people money's bad. Telling people a billionaire who owns X is bad. Meanwhile, the other one, you guys, was installed district attorneys all across the country. People are starting to sit back and go, this play that I'm watching doesn't seem to make any sense anymore. And thankfully, you are here to be a part of it. You can begin talking. Many of you, I was looking at the chat, I look over, and it's very simple. Yes, many of us have been talking to anybody I want, but now everybody can. Let me, together, MAGA changed, where'd that go? Well, that went fast. American through and through. Yes, non-hyphenated America. If we can get to that, that would make America great again. When you don't have to worry about that. You couldn't go to Cummings, Georgia a while back. I've never been to Cummings, Georgia, but I bet it's not that way now. Back when a man like Barry could go skiing without a jerk like me roasting. I couldn't do that. I'll go tobogganing, but then again, I've been in Florida too long. I don't even want to do that. But yeah, we used to go tobogganing up in Vermont. There's nothing wrong with having a lot of money. You own the money instead of the money owning you. Exactly. Sheila Marie. Barry, will you be discussing the 81-year-old congresswoman who has been in elder care? I hadn't planned on it, Sheila. Well, let me take a couple seconds. Sheila's referring to this Republican congresswoman. This Republican congresswoman that nobody has heard from in the last 6 months. She's still a congresswoman. And she's been in a home, a dementia home. She's done. And she hasn't showed up, and nobody has thought, hey, should we put somebody new in? Come on, Governor Abbott, something's going on here. The problem is he couldn't put anybody new in. She was elected. And so until she passes or resigns, the way the law works, nobody could get rid of her. Which is a problem in of itself in terms of being able to write in term limits or some sort of incapacitation limits, and then having people having the balls enough to execute on that. That's our problem. We don't have a government that's willing to call these people out. There is nothing wrong, and I do mean this. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. There is nothing wrong with someone who's been unfortunately afflicted with dementia or Alzheimer's. It happens to so many people. God bless them. There's something wrong with other politicians not going, we need to do something about this. Let's let her have her time alone and put somebody else in here. But they won't do it. They both sides. Remember, we're talking about parts of the uniparty here, and in order for that to happen, they would have to conjunctively agree, we're going to make it so if you're incapacitated, we can remove you. But they won't do it, because they'd have to get somebody like Mitch McConnell to sign off on it. And we already know Mitch has got one foot in the grave too. That's one of the problems with our government. Really a big problem. There's no self-accountability. Forget your policies. Forget what you believe or don't believe. They will vote in a raise 100 to nothing if they can't. They will get lockstep. There won't be anybody fraying from that. And so in order to get these people to understand you're doing the American people wrong by hiding this woman, instead of saying, hey, can we all get together on a law and say, if you can't spell your name, you can't be here? How about that? I mean, I don't know medically. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what the test that you would have to give somebody to measure their acuity. Maybe that's the problem. How do you determine when someone's no longer able to do their job? Maybe if they can't open their eyes or swallow, that might be, I'm just saying. Because from what I understand, she's really bad. But she's just there. And who's voting for her? Are they taking her hand and dumping it in ink? I don't know. But you're right. That's horrible. We got to do something about that. Let's see. The old guard is going down. Not without you putting a boot in their butt. That's for sure. How do I get Grok? Grok is now. Where did I put that there? Grok is now free. If you join X, it used to be a premium member feature. Now it's available to anybody. Obviously, there's a reason why Elon wants it free to everybody, because the more people who use Grok, the less people are going to be using Google. It's simply amazing what you can get out of it in terms of how you can. Here, let me just show you real quick. You won't be able to see it. Let me pull this down. Hold on one second. Yeah, if I do this, you might be able to see. All right, so if you get on X, and on the very left side here, where is it? You can't see it. Hold on. Let me go home. I have to expand this. Anyway, it's on the left. See all these things here? It's on the left, and it'll take you to Grok. It won't let me do it because I've got it the window shrunken, but it'll take you to Grok. Anyway, it's free, and you just go over there and you can use it accordingly. Google is horrible. I use DuckDuckGo and Grok. It worked for Dianne Feinstein. Wheeled her in and wheeled her out. And so you know at that point that someone else is making the decisions. They're not making decisions. Same thing is going on with Joe right now. Who is signing these papers? We don't know. Somebody is definitely doing all this stuff. I like Grok, but for some reason it always makes me to be a black dude. That's too funny. Yeah, that's really funny. Lady Nika Michelis says Grok is amazing, and it's fun, and it's a lot of fun. So let's continue with this video, because this next one is gonna make you kind of laugh, because I told you it was coming. Yeah, I did. You'll hear it.
Welcome back, America. Stephen A. Smith. So could you see yourself seeing what you see now? And obviously Donald Trump can't run for president again, but if he could, under the current circumstances, could you see yourself voting for him?
Quite possibly. I'm not going to sit up there and dismiss that anymore. I think we're beyond that. He would have to prove a lot, Mark. And I'm not talking about policy now. For a second, allow me to say this.
Did I tell you or did I not tell you? I'm telling you right now, this man went in there and pulled the lever or pushed the button for Trump. He's distancing himself further and further from it. There are people out there saying he's a fraud and everything else, that he's probably trying to, move his way into getting a television show or something. But there's something up with Stephen A. For him even to come on TV and say this, especially on Mark Levin's show.
What concerned me about Donald Trump and the reason I voted against him and voted for Kamala Harris was because I felt that he would be divisive, that he would create chaos because he demands such a level of loyalty and fealty to him. And that would take priority over governing our nation. That was my concern. And so I'm looking for both sides to work across the aisle from one another. Having said that, when you see some of the things that he said, if he follows through on some of the things that he has said, it's not just about eradicating inflation, improving the economy, obviously controlling our borders. These are all things that I care about, make no mistake about that. And I certainly would support him in that regard. But it can't be just about fealty to him and loyalty to him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it can be. So that's the hill that you need to die on, Stephen A. Is that people, you just said, if he does this and if he does that, it shouldn't just be about loyalty. Well, if he does what he said he's going to do, why would you look for anybody else? And at the same time, and the reason I'm showing him is that he has a huge black audience. And so he's realizing right now, a lot of my audience has gone to Donald Trump. Don't think for an instant that there's not something behind what he's doing. Stephen A. makes a lot of money. And he's seeing right now that a large swath of his audience went over here. Or rather, to the right. And so what do you do to make sure that those people that you're talking to keep watching you on your sports channel? Well, you got to get out there and let them know, yeah, I can see myself voting for Trump. Kind of late now, ain't it? Well, he doesn't think so. But the bottom line with what you're seeing him do is, here's a guy, for whatever you think about his sportscasting, which I don't think much of, is reading the lay of the land. That's why I'm showing this to you. This would have been unheard of in 2020 or 2021. Oh no, I hate Trump, hate Trump. Oh no, I hate Trump. Now, I'm seeing this more and more where people are going, ooh, I need to talk about it over here, don't I? Yeah, because the one thing these people all care about, and he understands making $12, $15 million a year on ESPN, I cannot turn off all these people. And if he does do away with taxes, I'm going to be good. And if he succeeds with what he wants to do, where do you want to be in 2028? Not talking about the crap the Democrats want. You want to make sure that you bet on a winner. These people ain't going to win. There's nothing there. Stephen A. is smart enough to see this.
It has to be about getting the job done on behalf of what's in the best interest of the American people, as opposed to yourself, and not engaging in a kind of juvenile tendencies, tweeting all the time and going after people who are really much irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. You do things like that and you show that you're the adult in the room, yeah. I don't think anybody could dismiss Donald Trump at this particular moment in time, not just because of him, but because of what we've seen the Democrats do. We're not falling for it any longer. The American people aren't falling for it any longer. I voted.
What? Did y'all hear that? We ain't falling for it any longer. Who's this we? Think about what he just said. I know some of you don't like Stephen A. Smith. You think of him as a clown, and you're right. But he just said, we aren't falling for it any longer. So what you, in essence, just said is we've woken up. We're not woke. We're woken up. We understand at this point, y'all liars. And that's what I'm bringing this to you, so those of you who are white can see what's happening and that you have an opportunity. And for those of you that are black or Hispanic, you can see it's spreading. And this has been one of the Jenga pieces at the base of the Democrat Party. If people are waking up and saying, we're not falling for it anymore, they're in really big trouble. Really big trouble. That's what I want you to grasp from this and look between the lines. That one line he said right there, we're not falling for it any longer. Who's we? How many we's are there? And right now, how many of these we's need to be talked to by us? Hey, how's things going? Oh, not really well. Hey, how's your new job? I just saw it, but start talking to people because it's falling apart right in front of them. We're not falling for it anymore. There's two things with that you have to basically think of. Who's we? And what's happening in the Democrat Party where they're not falling for it, meaning you fell for it before. You were hoodwinked, you were bamboozled, you fell for it. We're not going to fall for it anymore, but we've been falling for it. And nobody wants to be made a fool of. And now people are waking up and going, damn, they played me, didn't they? You like being played? If there's any trolls in here, y'all like being played? You see how people are starting to wake up, people with minds, and like, man, this doesn't feel good. I'm not falling for it anymore. I was played hard.
Democrat, and I got to tell you something right now. I don't like the fact that I did. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't want to hear about, we're about law. We're about a law. Nobody's above the law. Nobody's above the law. But then you go out and you pardon your son and you try to blame everybody else for it. I don't want to hear about defund the police. I don't want to hear about, there should be open borders. I don't want to hear this stuff. And I don't think most of the American people want to hear that.
I'm sorry. That was the entirety of their platform. That's what they did for the last 4 years, is tell us boys can play girls sports, girls can play deal with it, they can go in your locker room, we're going to bring as many newcomers in, this is a new world order, and now you're saying you ain't falling for it anymore. How in the hell did you ever fall for that? How did you go against your own internal instinct and go, hey man, I'm in sports and this ain't cool. Seeing these people play against each other, this doesn't make any sense. I don't like this. How did you not see that? We all saw it.
We're thinking about the state of affairs that's in. We're not about America only, but being about America and prioritizing what's going on in this nation with the desolate and the disenfranchised and everybody else in between, and looking out for the best interest of what it is for America. That is not a crime for an American politician or a commander-in-chief or a senator or a congressional figure to have that mentality. I want them to have that mentality. So I think about things along those lines. And I'm no longer interested in, nor do I believe any of us should be interested in listening to a bunch of fear-mongering to tell us who we shouldn't vote for. Why don't you come up with a plan that tells us why we should vote for you? That's what I'm interested in. And if
I'm looking at some of the chats while the video's on, and I see people going, no, man, he's grifting, he's this and he's that. He's on Mark Levin's show. I'm sorry, I froze it at that. He's on Mark Levin's show. He's on Mark Levin's, I think it was Saturday night or Sunday night show. Mark Levin. Just let that sink in. let that, let that sink in. One of the most conservative talk show hosts on Fox News, and he's on that show basically having a mea culpa. Something's going on. The earth is moving.
Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Byron Donald, Marco Rubio, or the host of other Republican candidates coming down the pike, that's the kind of message that they're going to put forth. I'm down for it. I'm open-minded enough to make sure that I entertain that from a policy perspective. That's what I want for the American people. That's what I want for this nation.
That's why we love you, my man. Now, one quick question. I don't have a lot of time left.
Sure.
You get this all the time. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Kind of a dumb question, but I like it anyway.
I got to tell you something right now. You can never count out Patrick Mahomes, the reigning two-time defending Super Bowl champion. But this guy, Josh Allen, with the Buffalo Bills, the way he's looking right now, he's my leading candidate for league MVP honors. He looks absolutely phenomenal. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the Philadelphia Eagles played the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl and Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills ended up winning a Super Bowl championship. The way this kid is looking, he's looking that special.
I know. And you know, you've got great quarterbacks everywhere, and he's like the standout of the bunch. It's unbelievable. Stephen A., I love your show on ESPN. I love your other shows that you're doing. I'm glad you're stepping out and you're doing other things. You're a very smart guy. And God bless you, my friend.
God bless you.
I let that play to the end because what just happened there was striking. And there's a lesson to be learned. I look at some of the chats and I'm like, y'all not getting it. You really aren't getting it. I'm going to tell you again because you're not. If I could, I'd reach through this camera and pop you upside the head. Wake up. You see, Saturday, was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday or Sunday, whichever day it was. Charlie Kirk had Cenk Uyghur from the Young Turks on at Turning Point in Arizona. And a bunch of you were like, oh my God, he's talking to this guy and everything else. And they were sitting in two chairs having a conversation. And you're like, I don't trust him. I don't like him. He's a... People were freaking out. Oh, I'm unsubscribing. He's talking to... And now you just saw Mark Levin talking to Stephen A. Smith. What happened at the end of that conversation? Because that's the lesson for America. I saw somebody in here who said he can't even talk to his wife because she's off the she's upset about Kamala Harris. But what did you see at the end of that conversation? In case you missed it, I'm going to tell you. You saw two men from completely different worlds, completely different perspectives, completely different ideologies. And you saw the virtual analogy of two guys sitting down having a beer. Let's talk politics, blah, 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 Trump, yeah, Kamala. Hey, man, who you got in the Super Bowl? There's more that connects us than divides us. And people missed it with this, and they missed it with the Sync interview at Turning Point. At this point, there's a reason why these things are happening. I'm telling you right now, Trump has told people we are reaching across the aisle. We forget what people have done. Let's start trying to get them on our side. You will be remiss if your anger doesn't allow you to even look or talk to people who you didn't agree with a couple months ago. You see, Stephen A. Smith wasn't saying, hey, put these people on reservations and let's go ahead and re-education camps. He wasn't one of those whack jobs. Cenk wasn't one of those whack jobs. Oh, they were liberals, but they weren't going crazy saying MAGA should die and you're a maggot and everything else. So it is going to be incumbent upon you these next 4 years to begin reaching across the aisle. You want to see MAGA grow? It's not going to come from you and me. It's going to come from reaching out to people like Stephen A. Smith. Mark Levin, the great one, who is with Rush and is on Hannity and has been on Fox and is a strict constitutionalist, at the end of his interview said, hey man, who you got in the Super Bowl? What an icebreaker. What a flippin' icebreaker. Any one of you can do that. Every Sunday, well, there's only a couple weeks left, but talk to someone who you know is a nut, but may not be that much of a nut. Hey, I heard Josh Allen's been playing really good. You think he's going to get this one? You'd be amazed. This is your time to shine. You, as much as you are the media, you now have the ability to talk to people. meaningfully, bridging gaps. Don't looking like this, oh, I hate him, he's a grifter, oh man, this guy's an idiot. He said this like 3 years ago. So, I'm telling you right now, so what? You want to grow this party? You want to make MAGA a big tent and a tent that can't be penetrated? You start reaching out to people. I know some people don't like that. I know that just goes against their grain. It actually, for me saying this, causes some people to unsubscribe because I live it. I know my next door neighbor, right across the street, the neighbor who lives next to her, a single woman, said, whatever you do, don't tell her what you do. She hates Trump. And I'm like, ugh. Like, really? She's like, yeah, don't tell her. And she came over today to talk to Robin. She's going out of town. She wanted us to watch her house. We're like, oh, we ain't going to be here either. Let's ask that so-and-so. And so we talked to the other person. But Robin brought her into my studio here. And of course, there's where's my big head? There's a Make America Great Again hat sitting right there where my thumb is pointing. And then down below, Robin had bought me this birthday card, and it was Make Your Birthday Great Again, and it's got a picture of Trump. And I saw her look at it, and I'm like, okay, here it is. She ain't ever going to talk to us again. And she just reached down and picked up Lily, the new dog. And meanwhile, this one wants to go out and get something to eat. And we just talked about the dog. We didn't bring it up. I don't have two heads. She's looking at a man who's black and a woman who's white, and we are married for 30-something years, and we are Trump supporters, and we live right across the street from you. You just found out today. You just found out that the guy who helps bring in your garbage can, because she's a little bit older, so I help her. I bring in the garbage can. I bring in her recycling for her. I put it up at the door, and we have such a nice relationship. And she just found out today that guy that helps her and her family because she was sick and had an operation and does all these things is a Trump supporter, and she hates Trump. But see, now you can't be that way. You're like, I didn't know, wow, these guys are Trump supporters. Yep. He sat down, had some cookies, and Brown ate my cookies. I cannot believe she ate my cookies, Democrat. I had to go grab the pack. I'm like, no, man, those are my cookies. What do you mean offering up my cookies to a Democrat? That's how it's got to be. You got to break bread. You got to have tea. You got to talk to people who are smart and let them know you don't have two heads and fangs. Or, at least that's what I'm doing. That's what Mark Levin is doing. That's what Charlie Kirk is doing. If we're all doing it, you can do it. Did you know that American homeowners nationwide have over $32 trillion in equity? And cyber criminals, the smart ones that they are targeting that equity with a growing scam the FBI calls house stealing. House alarms, doorbell cameras, and deadbolts won't work against these thieves because they're not after your stuff. They're after your equity. I've been a real estate investor for nearly 30 years, and Robin has been an agent for over 22 years here in Florida. I've seen firsthand how scammers can steal your home. It's actually surprisingly easy. If your title isn't being monitored, scammers can transfer the title of your home into their name using a one-page document that they file at the local courthouse. If the document is filed correctly, the county and the courthouse will accept it. They don't even check. Then the scammers can take out loans against your property or even sell it behind your back. The scariest part? It's unlikely that the county office will even notify you. You won't find out anything until a collection notice or even a foreclosure notice starts arriving in your mailbox. But by then, the damage has been done and you're left with a financial and legal nightmare. The best way to protect your equity is with triple lock protection from our friends at Home Title Lock. Triple Lock Protection is 24/7 monitoring and alerts of any changes to your title, and God forbid, if the worst happens, restoration services at no out-of-pocket cost to you. So when was the last time you checked on your title? If you're like most people, the answer is never. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. But you can check on your home's title today and make sure you're not already a victim. You can get a free title history report and a 30-day free trial of Triple Lock Protection today by going to HomeTitleLock.com and using the promo code BARRY or click in the link in the description. If you want peace of mind, go to HomeTitleLock.com and use the promo code BARRY. Talk to you soon. All right. I see a comment here, it just cracks me up. Josh Allen sucks. It's that simple. It's that easy. It's that simple to simply talk to people about what it is they like. I mean, down here, obviously, people talk about Tua, and you can have like conversations everywhere just talking about how bad Tua is. If I win a hoodie, I'm giving it to him. Well, what's it say? Help Barry, help Barry out if you can't get money, hit the up thumbs button. Yeah, that's funny. In my neighborhood, all the leftists drive Teslas. Yeah, you can usually spot them. You can actually spot them everywhere. Good moral example to your neighbor bear. Yeah, and somebody had said, did you not have a sign in the yard? We're not allowed to have it. HOA, the condo commandos will have a problem if you do stuff like that. So I wasn't able to put a sign in the yard, but we did hang a flag. But then it got wrapped up with the awning, so we had to take it off. So other than that, no. And she didn't come back down until she lives in Massachusetts, and she didn't come back down here until like it started getting cold up north. So like I think she came back right after the election. So she didn't see the flag. My guitar hey Tommy, my guitar speaks in third person for me. My guitar gently weeps. Realizing MAGA is not the same as establishment. Absolutely. And I know it's going to be hard for people to understand, reach out. I've said to people I don't trust. You don't have to trust anybody. I'm not saying trust. I ain't trusted anybody. But you got to try and, think about it this way. And a lot of you will probably understand this. And I'm gonna go into the 10 here afterwards. Let's look at it this way. When we go to church, we're given the commission to try and bring people to church. Hey, ask a neighbor, ask a friend, see if they'll come to church. These people may not know God yet. These people may be living a life that you're like, I don't want to invite them to church. But you never know. What happens if one of those people you invite is like Russell Brand? And that person goes, wait a minute. Y'all don't have 3 heads? Nope. This isn't a cult? You just let me be who I am? Just as I am? Same thing, man. You can't build a church and you can't build a political movement without reaching out to people who aren't already in the movement. We're already here. We're already in the tent. In order for Trump to do what he wants to do, make America great again, the tent has to keep getting bigger. It's not going to get bigger without each one of us trying to bring more people into the tent. So every time I see people like, oh, I don't trust him. Oh, hey man, we won. I'm not asking you to hug somebody or invite him into your house yet, but maybe you talk to them about the Buffalo Bills. Maybe you talk to them about, the hurricane. Do you know how much good you can do right now talking to people up in Appalachia? There's a whole lot of liberals up in the Asheville area. A whole bunch of them. Hey man, how you doing? Did your property back? You okay? You're not sleeping in a tent right now, are you? You just don't need Samaritan's Purse. You can reach out to some of these people. Have you thought about that? Hey man, I see what you're going through. I empathize. Is there anything you need? I don't have a lot of money, but I could send you some food. I can go out in the cabinet and give away Barry's cookies. But they're my cookies. I want the cookies, you know. Start being that person. Try to be that person. I mean, I'm not telling you how to live your life, but at this point, I think you have to understand, if we want to defeat these people, and that's exactly what I want, I know Trump can't do it on his own. I know that J.D. Vance can't do it on his own. That's why we're here. That's why we're in this tent. We're already members. We need to help increase the membership. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, be kind. You just never know. They're finding out right now. And that's what I wanted to show you with Cenk. Well, I didn't plan that. Cenk was on the show. And then this one with Mark Levin is they're finding out now. Like, wait a second, really? Did Stephen A. Smith just go on Mark Levin's show? I want you to think about that for a second. How insane that was to probably many people on the right and the left. It's like, yeah, I could see if it was Hannity's show. I could see if maybe it was Jesse Waters' show. He went on arguably the most conservative person's show on Fox. That's who reached out to him? Mark Levin? Well, I'm telling you right now, if Mark Levin can extend a hand to Stephen A. Smith, you damn well can extend a hand to some liberals as well. I'm no better than Mark Levin. You're no better than Mark Levin. There's something he's been told or something he sees that said, let's have Stephen A. on my show. And we're going to ask him all these questions, and then I'm going to finish it. I'm going to bring it full circle, and we're going to have a virtual beer. Hey, man, tell me about the Super Bowl. Now I'm in your living room. So you were in my living room talking about MAGA. Now I'm coming over to your house, and we're going to watch the football game. And it makes a big difference. All right, let's go into the 10.
Here's the big finish. 10 stories that you just gotta hear. Number 10.
It doesn't make you as much money if you're a consultant.
And it doesn't. And listen, I've been a consultant. I was a consultant on the Harris campaign. Yeah. But you know what? I care about my community first and foremost, and the strategies that will reach them. And those strategies are scrappy. They're new. They're different than the old guard. But listen, this isn't the 1990s. We can't continue to run those campaigns. And also, Joe Biden won because of some of that scrappiness, right? In a pandemic, and we had to defeat Donald Trump. And so, you know, it's also disappointing that the DNC, like the people that are running to lead the DNC, are all white men.
And the thing is, I think about what the voter who was ride or die for Kamala Harris looked like. It looked like the people at this table. Like it looked like AOC. Latinas voted with her. It was Latino men. But so the reality is you're not bringing to the table the people who showed you how to win because they voted for her. They were willing to ride with her. You're chasing Republican voters who, no matter what Trump does, are going to vote for Trump. Exactly. It doesn't matter what he does.
Listen, the party should be led, to your point, by young women of color. Right, because young women of color are the reasons that Democrats do actually have some of these wins. And we know how to communicate in ways that reach that more moderate voter, but also that progressive voter, because we talk about the issues that people care about, the kitchen table issues that Democrats like to talk about. But we're able to talk about those issues in an intersectional way that reaches more people.
AOC was a waitress. She knows what it's like to be a voter that doesn't make a lot of money.
That didn't have health insurance until she became a member of Congress.
Come on, you know, we've got people like that. Let's give them some power. Come on, Democrats.
Barry, why would you show that? Well, it's pretty easy. That's the competition. They just got butt stomped a little over a month ago, and they think the future is more division. We need black women up in here. How about the best? How about people who earn it? We need more black women up in here. They're never going to win because she just said the opposite of what I've been telling you. We don't need to be talking to these Republicans. We just need to be talking amongst ourselves. That's a failed strategy, and it just failed miserably. These people have no clue what's coming up. And so it's your opportunity to stomp them even further.
Number 9.
One thing that happened, you were the co-chair of the Ukraine caucus, and Donald Trump he was speaking yesterday at a conference in Phoenix, Arizona. And in talking and speaking from the podium, he was talking about his first moves that he wants to make as president, like he called it kind of a preview of his second-term agenda. And part of that, he talked about his first moves he wants to make to end the war in Ukraine. Let me play this for you.
These crazy wars that we're in, one of the things I want to do, and quickly, and President Putin said that he wants to meet with me as soon as possible. So we have to wait for this, but we have to end that war.
He says Putin wants to meet with him as soon as possible. There's a lot. I was just talking to Jim Sciutto, Congressman, about what are the options of what people really do believe that Donald Trump will do in terms of the U.S. approach to Ukraine. When you hear that, what do you really think is going to happen?
Oh, I think he will try to end the war as quickly as possible, and that's a concern.
Twice now. You've heard losing messages. Oh, I think Trump's going to try to end the war as fast as possible. Yes. No, that's a concern. Oh, you want more war. How's that working out for y'all? You think people are okay with gazillions being sent to Zelensky. And you just saw the election on November 5th. You watched it happen. An absolute butt kicking. And you just heard two clips back to back with them acting as though it never even happened. Yeah, we want black girls to run the country. Okay, good luck with that. And we want the wars to continue. Losers.
Number 8.
Elon Musk is spreading fake news. On this, he is fake news.
And he relies on people to reply to him and tell him what's up. He says, you are the media now. That's his message on X. And yet that really leaves a lot to be desired. He's oftentimes relying on random anonymous accounts, these websites, these users on X who are trying to present themselves as the new CNN, the new New York Times.
I tweeted about this the other day. There's not a single person that I know of. Not one. None. Not me. Not Benny. Not Dan Bongino. Not Jesse. Nobody wants to be the new CNN or New York Times. They're so detached that they don't understand that people just want to have a voice and talk to people and have no desire of being what you people have become. That is why they will lose and continue to lose. They cannot get out of their bubble. They see it as almost like a monolith that we are the media. You can't dare come into where we are. You're not allowed to. You posting around stuff from anonymous accounts and you're trying so hard. Really? You're the one talking about it. And you're trying to denigrate people, yet your ratings suck.
But have no research behind them, no backing, no institutional knowledge. And I understand that for Musk, that's really appealing. It's exciting on his platform, but he ends up misleading a lot of people. It is striking how he does seem to be learning about lawmaking in real time. And just a moment ago, he tweeted about all the coverage of him in the last 24 hours. There's been all these questions, Dana. Is he the real president-elect? Is he the shadow president? Well, Musk responded on X. He says the political and legacy media puppets are all echoing the same idea, parroting the same message, trying to drive a wedge between Trump and me. And Musk adds, they will fail. I don't think anybody's trying to drive a wedge except those Democrats who are saying it. Journalists are just trying to understand the relationship between Trump and Musk, because it's one of the most important relationships of the next 4 years.
We're literally calling it as we see it. Elon Musk put out on social media that he didn't like the bill. Then there was a statement from Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, and then everything fell apart.
I really hope Trump eliminates the press conferences. Just doesn't wait. Don't need them. These people are morons. Absolute morons. They talk about other people misinformation. Everything on these networks is basically a hive of misinformation. The media can't accept their death. You know, the 5 stages of death, I think the first one's denial. You've been given a prognosis that's not that good. And right now, you're spinning your wheels in denial. You don't understand. You are completely irrelevant. Nobody cares what you people have to think. Nobody. But maybe this many.
Number 7.
Huge void. I don't think so. Look, I like those guys, the Pod Save America guys. They're all part of they all should be doing what Kamala Harris should be doing also, which is everybody step back for a moment. Stop talking. This is, we lost. We lost the House. We'd already lost the House. We lost the Senate. We lost the presidency. Talking about the things that the vice president was talking about there, I didn't understand what she was talking about, frankly. But if you want to share with people that they shouldn't be down, encourage them to be more active in society. Encourage them to give the president the benefit of the doubt, the new president, and to try to work with him when they think he's wrong, to counter him. Politics has become part entertainment, part culture, part policy, and a dash of politics. President Trump mastered that this time. We should step back and take account of that. Now, these guys saying that President Biden they don't know where he is or what he's doing. He's been that way for 6 months and they weren't saying those things. So now that we are after the election, they want to say these things, and that's fine. But remember, you have a transition team. Waltz, the National Security Advisor, is working with Jake Sullivan. I have confidence there. The president is aware of everything. The new president's aware of everything that's going on because he's getting all those briefings. So my concern is not that. My concern is more so my party. We were on the other day, and this guy sitting in your seat one day was Charlie Hurt, and Charlie Hurt said in Greg's seat, and Charlie said, you know, I want a strong Democratic Party too. When Democrats are in charge, I want a strong Republican Party. The country is better when both parties are competitive, when both parties are serious, and when both parties are taken seriously by the voters. And right now, Brian, Democrats aren't being taken seriously enough by the voters. And the comments made by the vice president there, whom I respect, is not helping. Step back, listen before you begin talking again about what the country
I agree, but then
wants.
Senator Fetterman hasn't stepped back. He comments on everything, and I don't think it's hurting the party at all.
Step back, shut up, realize you lost, you move on from there. I'm a football guy. I understand the analogy of watching game film, seeing what you did wrong. Don't do it next time. The Democrats are doing exactly the same thing, and there's people like Harold Ford who has a brain about him, is like, you can't be this way. You just got spanked. You can't just pretend like it didn't happen and that the entirety of the people who voted for you are just going to be okay with it. See, I don't care. I hope y'all continue down that road. How can I say it? That's why there's such an opportunity for us. If they don't want to change, if they just want to keep talking the same stuff to the same people and talking in an echo chamber, that gives us as MAGA people the opportunity to go out there and talk to people who are lost. I'm telling you right now, I am certain there are liberals and Democrats in New Jersey and New York who have seen this woman get lit on fire by a newcomer in a subway who are like, what the hell? I'm done. I'm done. That could have been my sister, my wife, my mother. And you Democrats have allowed it to get like this. You don't think right now they're like, wait, ooh, hey, no, bridge too far. Now, I understand people say, well, people get shot and stabbed in New York all the time. I understand that. But seeing someone get lit up on fire, that visual is so disturbing that many people saw that and went, oh my God, we can't have that. That was the bridge too far. Count on it. Many of us read the stories. 10 people shot in Chicago. 5 people did this. But watching a woman just burn up, watching the police just walk by, watching the guy fan the flames, watching Kathy Hochul going, it's all great here. I just watched the lady burn up, and you did nothing. And then you see stuff like in the media. I don't know if you guys have seen like the stories that were in the media, and it was stuff like woman catches on fire, woman burns to death. What exactly happened? She didn't just sit there and it was an immolate. She didn't sit there and just spontaneously combust, boof, and turn into fire. What happened? No, the news doesn't want to say, oh, it was a newcomer who lit her on fire. There's no headline like that. Woman on fire. Woman caught on fire. Woman dies of fire. Like they did with the Germany thing. Car runs through crowd. Car? The car just decided to turn itself on? Because they can't be truthful, because they can't let people know specifically that their ideology is causing all this, that's what makes the opportunity for each one of us. Because people lost their lives in that car attack. But that's a whole lot different than watching a woman lit up on fire in the United States of America, in the biggest city in the country, and nobody helped her. If you don't think that's going to change some minds where people are going to freak out and say, I can't deal with this anymore, I've hung out with you, I voted for Kamala, yeah, I understand the big blue bus was out there, and I'm done. Trump, come save me. I don't want to live like this anymore. That's your opportunity.
Number 6.
Single biggest factor behind Kamala Harris and Democrats losing in November. You have a singular political talent. It's undeniable. Trump. You know, he had the energy and almost a sense of fearlessness to just say all those kinds of things. And people, it's...
Did you think, or did you have on your 2024-2025 bingo card that John Fetterman would be the voice of reason in the Democrat Party? I didn't pick that. I know Mega Millions is up to like $925 million, but if they had political faces instead of numbers, John Fetterman would not have been on my bingo card for the voice of reason in the Democrat Party. What in the hell has happened to this guy? Or was this the guy all along? They didn't know it, but they're looking at a guy, besides the way he dresses, this guy is speaking in a way that you're like, really? Are you the... Woo, what's going on here?
It's undeniable that it has an entertaining aspect for that, too. And just, if you're not afraid to say all of those things, and after you survived an assassination, you literally were shot in your head, and had the presence of mind to respond, fight, fight, fight. I mean, that's a political talent. It's undeniable. And also, I never believed that it was about fascism.
Oh, the Democrats are going to be pissed now. He just took their main thing. Yeah, racist, fascist, homophobe, xenophobe, and went, nah, he.
And for me, that made it difficult for
Kamala Harris said that he was a fascist.
Yeah, well, it's like that's her prerogative. I mean, but it's not a word that I would use, because you put a lot of Democrats, especially in my state, that I know and I happen to love people that are going to vote for Trump, and they are not fascists. And also fascism, that's not a word that regular people, use. That, I think people are going to decide who is the candidate that's going to protect and project, my version of the American way of life. And that's what happened.
Who is the candidate who's going to protect and project my way of life? He's in Pennsylvania, not too far from Jersey. In fact, they border each other. Same thing with New York. And I'm sure people outside of Pennsylvania have seen this woman burn up as well. Who is going to protect my way of life? Well, I now know. I don't have to ask anymore, says many people in Pennsylvania, many people in Jersey, and many people in New York. I no longer have to wonder. I know specifically who's going to protect my way of life. Trump. MAGA. You people aren't. I saw your cops walking around. Didn't do anything. We all saw it. We've seen it over and over and over. We're seeing women having horrible things done to them. We're seeing children having horrible things done to them. And all you want to do is throw more out there. Bring more in. Bring more in. Eric Adams says, hey, no more. We're not going to do this anymore. So what does Biden respond? They indict him. Don't speak against the family ever. And now Fetterman, luckily for him, he's in a different state. He's speaking out against the family. Their policies are dead. Their ideology is dead. It's not coming back. I wanted to do this video and actually make it uplifting for you because it's Christmas and tell you things are changing. I feel so horrible about that woman. I wish I could go back before it happened and be on that train and take a 2x4 to that dude's head. But maybe people said, why would God let that happen? Well, she stood there and she didn't fall and she didn't roll and she didn't show any screaming in pain. Perhaps God pulled her out of that and said, I got something better for you. It's Christmas. Come with me. Leave that carcass. That carcass can burn because that carcass is sending a message. Notice, people said she didn't scream. She didn't drop and roll. She must have been in shock. Well, many of us are Christians and realize maybe God just reached in there and said, come with me. I got you. Leave that behind. Why would God have let that happen? He was sending a signal, perhaps. I can't speak for God, but I'm telling you right now, that burning shaft of a woman sitting there is being shown everywhere, and I'm sure many women, many men looked at that and went, hell no, that can't happen. We cannot let that happen anymore. A young single woman up in flames and our government did nothing. I want no parts of this. It's your opportunity to reach out to people and say, he just said it. I want my politicians to protect me. Women, you know this. You want a man that protects you. Provides, but protects. Men, you know once you assume that position, you're there to protect that family. It's in our innate DNA. And Democrats are trying to tell you that your DNA and what you're here for is wrong. And I think that was good. I think it's going to be a trigger. I really do.
Number 5.
Other controversial nominee, Pete Hegseth, Trump's pick for defense secretary. K-File revealing Hegseth in the days after January 6th justified the attack and fueled those false flag claims about Antifa. And K-File's Andrew Kaczynski joins me now. So, Andrew, you have been digging into Hegseth's path since he was announced as defense secretary pick to find what he said, whether it squares with where he is now on crucial issues. Tell us what you found now.
Yeah, and what's really remarkable about this audio that we found is not only that he spreads this sort of insane conspiracy theory that the initial break into the U.S. Capitol was done by leftists disguised as Trump supporters, but in this same audio, he also seemingly justifies the actions of those Trump supporters by suggesting that their actions were rooted in legitimate grievances about the
So CNN fancies themselves doing some investigative reporting here. And what they're actually looking to do is say that Pete Hegseth, oh my God, he actually believed that there were some Antifas and there was crazy things on January 6th. And, you know, that should make him not qualified to be the Secretary of Defense. But they never ran any stories about the guys who showed up in dog masks for Biden. They never showed any investigative reports for the guys in dresses. But you want to go after a virile, young, strong man, and you think that's going to work in 2025.
2020 election. He himself says here that he thought the 2020 election was rigged. He immediately also attacked those who condemned both Trump and the rioters. He said he didn't like the knee-jerk reaction. Aaron, this podcast is just 4 days after that attack on the U.S. Capitol, and he said particularly that he saw that these leftists, these Antifa members, with his own eyes, who started not Trump supporters. Listen to what he said here.
Antifa folks took advantage of this to try to get to the front and try to agitate and create openings for themselves. They want chaos ultimately, but what they really want to do is further the narrative.
Did you notice the date of that? It was 2021, where people, didn't really know what happened, but they decided they want to dig, and the fact that he mentioned Antifa makes him unqualified to be the Secretary of Defense.
Look, again, and this was 4 days after the riot, and the thing is, he couldn't have seen this himself because it didn't happen. There have been multiple investigations. There have been investigations by the FBI. This is not a thing that happened. The people who broke in were Trump supporters. It was not leftist or Antifa disguised as Trump supporters.
No, and obviously he's saying he saw it. It obviously didn't see it. So much of this nomination, Hegseth specifically, has also focused on his personal issues, right? Allegations about his drinking, a sexual assault claim. But he also has a long history that you found of pushing election fraud conspiracy.
Yeah, he explicitly said in this podcast that he thought the 2020 election.
This wasn't put out there before the election. This was put out, I believe, last week, Thursday. They're still trying to convince somebody that this guy, Pete Hegseth, shouldn't be able to be qualified as a Secretary of Defense because he believes the election was stolen. Good luck with that. He shouldn't be, Secretary of Defense because it's following your playbook of, he's been accused of assault. Accused. I mean, we saw this with Kavanaugh. We're seeing it again with Matt Gaetz. It's their usual playbook. Over and over and over. Not realizing it's no longer working. Again, underscoring, you have a huge opportunity to start talking to some people who aren't stupid.
Was rigged. He attacked those who were dismissing saying that all these claims of voter fraud were baseless. He said, why is the media taking the line of Secretary of States and governors who are saying that this didn't happen? And what's really notable, again, this is 4 days after the riot, and there had already been all of these court cases from the Trump campaign team. I think it was 60. They had all been disproven. His own attorney general had said that this hasn't happened. So this was really totally unfounded. Listen to him making those comments.
The mindset of these people was not overtly radical. It wasn't violent at all. They feel like if my vote isn't fairly counted, if that's rigged against me too, what is my recourse?
You see, all they're trying to do is relitigate January 6th. Relitigate. They're the ones who say they don't do any sort of misinformation, when the entirety of what they're saying here is misinformation. You just heard Brian Stelter say that, everything that Elon Musk says is misinformation, where he just said that, 60 cases were debunked what they were saying. No, the 60 cases weren't heard because of standing. They didn't accept them. There was not a single case that was adjudicated against them. They were refused for standing. But they don't want to tell you the truth. They'd rather just lie to you.
This is where the Republicans who, if they had any decency and actually believed in the oath that they swear to the Constitution, that they would question all of this during the confirmation hearing and say, and that's why I'm not voting for you, because you are unqualified. This is disqualifying. You are part of something that went to the strikes to the heart of our cornerstone of our democracy, and you are part of it. You are not qualified to be the leader of the Department of Justice.
In a million years, think anyone would do that? Lindsey Graham won't do it.
Unfortunately, that's my point.
None of them.
I want to see, but to your earlier point,
and
they need to be held. They need to be shamed for it.
That's a bridge too far.
They'll never.
To your earlier point, I want to see the Democrats get up there and say, you said that there was massive fraud. Was there massive fraud?
Yes,
Do you believe there was
Democrats
massive
will
fraud?
have
Are you lying? How can you say you want to run the military, which involves processing intelligence and analyzing things? Do you really believe that Antifa stirred that up? I want them to ask Kash Patel about his exaggerated claim that he was the lead prosecutor on the Benghazi case when he wasn't. I want
all of those things,
but to do it not politely.
No,
but fiercely, with the point that if they're going to get through, they got to be told. Robert Kennedy, why did you lie about?
And here's the thing that Democrats don't
Samoa?
understand is that the confirmation hearings are a television show. That's correct. It's a television program. You probably cannot stop the nomination, but you can put things in the record that the American people cannot look away from. Democrats do not have the power to stop these people from becoming defense secretary or becoming attorney general, but you cannot make it. You can make it hard. That's right. And you can make it unpleasant, and you can make it uncomfortable, and force the American people, even watching Fox, who are watching that show, to get access to the truth, give them access to the truth, because trust me, Trump and his team will give them no access to the truth.
So, you don't care about people getting approved. You want it to be good television. You want to use the confirmation hearings as a dog and pony show to sully people so that it's in the record, as she said, because ain't no one reading the record except you, who for the 5 or 6 months after someone's confirmed will still be bringing up the record. How do I know this? Because no one's ringing the record about Judge Kavanaugh except you people. They're not serious. And it shows you, again, the theme of today, they got nothing. I mean, her own admission, though, that we can't stop them. So let's just dirty it up. So you don't really want to have a country that's cohesive again. You don't want that. You want things to be where we can just tear each other apart for fun and profit. That's their objective. And the error they're making is to think that the American people continue to want this after getting shellacked on November 5th. As Stephen A. Smith said, we ain't buying it anymore. You shot your bullets. There's nothing left. People don't want to hear your lies anymore. But all you have is those lies. There's nothing else you can go on television with.
Number 3.
ICE was also
So after what we just watched today, after we watched this woman get barbecued in New York, this guy here should be strung up, because now CBS finally had to somehow ask him about these 325,000, 400,000, 500,000 kids that are missing. Because he knows what's coming. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Tom Homan, they're about to expose all of this. And we just saw this woman burn up. And this idiot, you won't believe what he says here.
able to account for more than 32,000 unaccompanied kids who failed to appear in court from 2019 to 2023, according to the report we read. The incoming border czar, Tom Homan, says these children are being exploited and trafficked. Is that true?
Well, Margaret, we certainly have received reports of children being trafficked, even those as to whom we know where they are. That is outside the responsibility of the Department of Homeland Security.
He actually said, it's not my job, man. It's not my job. The Department of Homeland Security, the Secretary of Homeland Security just said, it's not my job to find these kids.
What we do is we turn children over within 72 hours, as the law requires, to the Department of Health and Human Services, and then HHS places those children. Of course, we investigate cases of trafficking. But there are children who are reunited with a parent here in the United States or a legal guardian, and they move. And sometimes the government loses track. Individuals do not comply with their reporting obligations or otherwise. I think it is inaccurate to say that all of them are trafficked or victimized. There are a number of reasons why we might lose track of an individual. That is not necessarily specific to this administration. That has been a long-standing challenge in the immigration system. One example of why that system is so broken, why the duration of time in proceedings is unacceptably long and has to be remedied. Remember, we're dealing with a system that was last reformed in 1996.
Remember when, who was it? Martha Raddatz told J.D. Vance, it's only a couple apartment complexes that they've taken over. And people are like, what? Well, this dude just said, not all of them have been trafficked. They don't even realize the words they're saying. They're so wrapped up in CYA. He actually just said that. You can rewind it. He said it. Not all of them. Oh, well then how many have been? Tell me the number of kids that it's okay for the United States government to lose to trafficking. Give me that number. And then quit. Resign. Not all of them. I don't think everybody thinks it's all of them. What's the number? Pick one. 50,000? 20,000? They still were in your possession, custody. You were the one who said, hey, send them over here. And you don't have any idea where they are, who they're with, nothing. But it's not all of them. It's not that bad.
Number 2.
All right, you didn't get a chance to see Secretary Mayorkas in his exit interview on CBS. Talked about how proud he is that the border is down to 50,000, so the problem is virtually solved. Here's what he said, though, when pressed by Margaret Brennan about how he loses track of children. Watch.
We certainly have received reports of children being trafficked, even those as to whom we know where they are. That is outside the responsibility of the Department of Homeland Security. Of course, we investigate cases of trafficking. But there are children who are reunited with a parent here in the United States or a legal guardian, and they move. And sometimes the government loses track.
So does that explain everything? What should I know about his statement?
It's nothing but lies. Nothing but lies. Border numbers aren't down. They're just putting them through the CBP One app and the CHNV app. You add those programs together, what Border Patrol's catching the gotaways, we're still at historic numbers. They were bragging the other day that ICE has over 247,000 removals, the most in a decade. No, they don't. If you look at the data, 80% of them were Border Patrol apprehensions that ICE just simply put across the border. ICE interior enforcement numbers are historic lows. And as far as the children, another lie. Under his guidance, under his leadership, first of all, it's his policies that caused over 500,000 of children being smuggled in this country, trafficking in this country, and they lost track with 340,000 of them. His lips are moving, he's lying, and he needs to be held accountable. Nothing he said in that interview is truthful.
You see, I have been doing this long enough now where I think we are seeing a conspiracy, or rather a crime of massively epic proportions. There can't be so many people involved in this just as a coincidence, to the point where we're not allowed to talk about it. This video will probably be demonetized, just like, believe it or not, the video of Turning Point where James O'Keefe was doing his speech. They waited a day and they demonetized it. They said, oh, people shouldn't see this. Then it is what it is. There's a reason why no one in the media really wants to talk about this. There's a reason why they don't want us talking about it. The people and powers that be behind the scene must be so high up that they don't want this to happen. They don't want this exposure. I cannot even imagine how many people that we know on a daily basis, we know the names, are going to be taken down if this thing is actually revealed. The list from one guy island and the other one from the Puffy party and this and this and that. And all this stuff to get exposed. They're probably, the web is probably like this. It's all woven in between the media and sports and entertainment. And they don't want us talking about it. At some point, we got to pull off the Band-Aid. Let it be what it is. I don't care if it's Republican, Democrat. If you were involved in this stuff, I don't care who you are. You need to be exposed. And I don't care how far back we got to go. Because God's children are not for sale. Right directly from the movie. Enough. Enough. We're moving into 2025, a whole new year. This stuff has got to end. I don't want to see another woman burned up in a subway. I don't want to see another woman taken advantage of by some newcomer. I don't want to see some kid dragged through the desert and sold. Enough. It's Christmas time. Just get rid of whatever you got to do and get out of office and let daddy come home and fix this. Because you have abused the entirety of this country. And the people who are too stupid to realize it, I don't got no time for you. I want to talk to the people who now say, oh yeah, I didn't sign up for this. The rest of you, go shave your friggin' heads and live in the desert. I don't care. But it has to stop. It has to stop. And now we've got this new thing on OnlyFans where people are making videos telling you that they're doing, oh, I slept with 1,000 people, 500 people. I'm going to sleep with 600 people. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? What has gone on where this is happening in America? Luckily, it's Christmas. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to clean all this up. You're going to feel good leaving here. Because I got two things left to show you. And both of these, they're going to make your heart feel like that.
Number 1.
Your name may not appear down here in this world's Hall of Fame. In fact, you may be so unknown that no one knows your name. The Oscars and the praise of men may never come your way. But don't forget, God has rewards that He'll hand out someday. This crowd on earth, they will soon forget when you're not at the top. They will cheer like mad until you fall, and then their praise will stop, not God. He never does forget. And in His Hall of Fame, by just believing on His Son, forever there's your name. I tell you, friend, I wouldn't trade my name, however small, that's written there beyond the stars in that celestial hall, for all the famous names on earth, or the glory that they share. I'd rather be an unknown here and have my name up there.
So, kind of got a glimpse of what's coming next. That was Jim Caviezel, who starred in the movie Sound of Freedom and has basically put his career and his life on the line to expose this nuttery. And then over the weekend, as I'm talking about this video about how the Democrat temple is falling to the ground, I just want to show you something that happened over the weekend. This man is 70 years old, has all the money in the world, obviously. And Saturday, Denzel Washington decided to get baptized. Oh, you couldn't. Somebody said you couldn't hear over the music. I'll fix that. So it's all good. It's all good. Somebody like Denzel Washington. I wish I could find the article. Let me see if I can find the article where he talks about him getting baptized. And becoming the license he's holding is because he's becoming a minister as well. Here's the story, if I can bring it up. My electronics aren't working as well as I want them to. All right, so here's the story. It says, Denzel Washington becomes a minister as Hollywood actor admits you can't talk about religion in the industry. Let me see if I can make that its own thing so you guys can see it. Because this is what's happening right now. This is how it's happening. All right. Denzel Washington becomes a minister as Hollywood actor admits you can't talk about religion in the industry. Gladiator star Denzel Washington was baptized on December 21st. As Denzel Washington received his minister's license as a 69-year-old movie star takes on a new role in life. Washington was baptized by Bishop James Pullings at the Kelly Temple in New York City on Saturday. It took a while, but I'm finally here. If God can do this for me, there's nothing he can't do for you. That is awesome. That says everything. You got to imagine, what has this man seen over the last 30, 40 years? No matter who judges, God is real. Yes, he is. Great ending. Yeah. He was baptized on my birthday. What a great birthday. Never seen money placed into into a cremation chamber. Everyone wants Denzel falling better. Yeah, it is, man. All right, so it just touches my heart. Seeing that woman burn up kind of got to me. I'm human. I have a wife. I have grandkids. It just sucked, man. Excuse me. Sorry about that, y'all. It just shit happens. All right, so let me go ahead and talk to you about some super chats here. My granddaughter loves Jesus, and she sang "Oh, Silent Night" in the church and told me she is praying for God to bring me a godly husband. Very nice. Merry Christmas to you all. Yes. Oh, yeah. Tom Homan in a month. In a room with Mayorkas for 10 minutes. I'd sell tickets. Oh, yeah, I'd want to see that too. Ron and Jerry, the Lord's people are united in heart, mind, and spirit. Absolutely. Newcomers might mess with the wrong person. Yeah, or the wrong person's relative. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if that was your sister, your daughter, your wife, your mom? There's nothing that would hold me back from... I can't even imagine. I'd have to pray because I'd be gone. Tinley, Merry Christmas to Barry, your family and works here. Thank you. Jesse Brown, Jesus is the reason for the season. And I got a nice closing for you. Don't go. After I'm done with this, I got another nice closing to lift you up. And it involves the boss. Sally Everett, thank you very much. Steve Anderson, showing forth our love and kindness, not hate, should rule our lives. Absolutely. Mountain Goddess, if Biden has proven to have mental decline, does that mean those pardons are still legal? I think someone's going to have to challenge that stuff. I think for sure. Susie Ryman, thank you very much. Encourage all my family to listen. It's so easy to hang out. Let's see here. No name. There are some people that have TDS that will never be saved. That's true. No name again. Thank you. Biggest problem in the White House, white liberal women. Yeah, they're pretty bad. Let's see what else we got here. Tommy, I got your music for, if I can go tonight, I'll have some music for you. My HOA said I had to raise the height of my fence 3 inches. My dog is Chewini, a foot high. Don't want to cost me $4,000. That's crazy. Again from Tommy. I called out A. Smith 4 years ago being, with that being said, kind of guy. Get no good authority. A person would need to propose their statement with that. Gotcha. No name again. Thank you. Stephen A. Smith is playing the electric slide. F. Joe Biden. I love your handle, man. What about all the loyalty to Biden and Democratic Party? Trump just wants Democrats to give him a chance to succeed. That's all. Just see what can happen. From Canada, Ladybug, God bless you, very appreciate you speaking the truth. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Fume Drummer, this donation is because of the intro compilation showing our elegant First Lady. It was beautiful. I found them all and I put them all together. It's pretty good. No name again. Westmore received stolen valor Friday. This isn't a joke. A white guy, a black American, and a legal Spanish guy running a construction site in Maryland get along with all. Tommy, it's because you're a good person, Barry. Oh, you're black? Didn't notice you just like me in a lot of ways. Love the show. Thank you. Debbie Gandy, can Trump do recess appointments over Christmas? No, he's not in. He's not in office, so there's no way he can do recess appointments. Can't do anything until January 20th. Tommy, Barry, did you know Kathy, Letitia, and Alvin were told to kick rocks at a funeral on Long Island by the waist of this? Yep, I did a video when that happened, way back when that happened, and she got kicked out. James Cagley, hopefully Elon can help sponsor Republican governor, senator, and congressional races in all blue states. Dems need to be voted out of office. And the thing is, it's not really just Democrats, it's liberal nuts. I mean, there's been some good Democrats. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Fetterman, but man, he looks a lot different than he used to, doesn't he? Let's see here. Tommy again. Hey, Barry, sent a Christmas song for Jesus and a couple of... Yep, I got that ready for Christmas when we go live on Christmas. What have we got here? Joy Kirkland. Hello, Joy. Haven't seen you. Good afternoon, Barry. I'm playing catch up with TPUSA. Thank you for all you wish you do, Robin Ashley, and the mods for a very Merry Christmas. Thank you. Robert Cooper, thank you for the Christmas spirit you share with your family and country. Thank you for the Christmas spirit you share with your family and our country. Thank you. And Santa Berry for us. Now, I want to go live tonight. I'm going to try. Hold on. Never apologize for showing your heart. Thank you, Basement Creations. Timothy Carter, Barry, you need to interview Alejandro Mayorkas. No, I wouldn't be able to. If I had Mayorkas in me, they would definitely turn it off too soon. And God bless you, Barry. Thank you as well from Connie. And who's this? My granddaughter loves Jesus, and she's saying something. Okay, I said that one already. So I got something for you. I'm going to try and go live tonight at 7:30, but none of my electronic stuff is working, and I'm hoping Rumble, so I'm not really sure if I can go tonight, because I hate doing things off the cuff like this. At least I didn't turn my microphone off. That's a good thing. But I got something for us to end today, and I'm just going to play this. It's 1 minute. Don't go anywhere. Trust me. You're absolutely going to love it. Let me put my ears back in because I want to hear it too. So let's see if we can come back tonight. If not, this is a good way to leave today.